Hello, everybody. We're back. Hello. We're live. This is the Lads It's Tottenham podcast. I'm the caller, your host. It's great to be back in the hot seat after a little bit of a sabbatical. Been away, got my tan, had a few beers, got a bit more tan, had a few more beers, fallen asleep in the sun, woke up with a face hotter than the sun. And I am pleased to be back with you all tonight. So let us know where you're watching from. It's great to see some familiar names in the chat. I have got a stellar panel as advertised on X with you tonight, and I'm going to go round the room in traditional fashion now. So, welcome, John. How are you, my friend? Rocking a Puma retro beautiful shirt. Yeah,
I've not been called Stella for a few years. Wednesday nights I'm Stella, but apart from that, it's weird, mate. It's been a while since we've all been on here. 4 lads, it's Tottenham / Cheese Room hosts. And we got the A team apart from HG, who's too busy watching the football.
Well, and let's not knock Gibbo and Davo
too much. Apologies, Davo and Gibbo, and Connor Levynomics, who's a new regular on the show. Yeah. Those guys have done a sterling job keeping us going while we've all been drinking on holiday or collapsing like I did at Park Run.
Yeah, I'm glad you're better, mate. Moving swiftly around the room, there's another beautiful face I haven't seen for a while on here. Craig, how are you, Craig?
I am great, caller. Great. I'm really, really happy to be back on. It feels like it has been an eternity, hasn't it, for me personally, for lots of reasons. Fell out of love with Tottenham for a little bit, I think, like everyone. But I'm back in love. I'm raring to go and excited to talk everything Tottenham tonight with you 3 wonderful people.
Well, and I'm excited to see you as you are to see me. In fact, last time I saw you, we're both very drunk, doing the champagne spit in the man cave after the cup final win. So I'll hang on to that, and I'm pleased to see you back.
I think that video should form part of our intro caller. To be fair.
It's possible. I mean, anything's possible with our tech gurus, isn't it? So we'll have a word with John and see what he can do. And also joining me all the way from the US of A, he's been successfully repatriated from his recent trip to Spurs, no less, and the UK. How are you, Jack?
Well, I'm doing great. It's lovely to see all of you wonderful gentlemen and Craig, my new best friend that I got to see at St. Leonard-on-Sea. And discovered a secret about Craig that I don't know everyone else knows. But I got to see my first win ever, 5th try. Finally got to see a win. Sorry to miss you, Owen. You were there in Portugal having a great time. And sorry I missed you. But I did get to see some of our friends, Stuart and Diver and Franco and everything. So it was a really, really, really fantastic trip. The only thing was kind of negative about it, of course, was Monday – my wife started feeling very, very poorly, and Tuesday she tested positive for COVID. Yeah. So that didn't end the trip all that well, but overall it was a really great trip, and got to see and meet Craig in the flesh.
I mean, he is shorter in real life, is what I would say. He's like a midget almost.
He's a giant. This man has unbelievable game or chat or whatever the right phrase would be for you people, because I met his better half, and he's definitely punching.
Oh yeah,
he is definitely punching.
Yeah, 100%. Well, look, it's good to have everyone back, and luckily, not a lot has happened in the Tottenham world, so we've got not a lot to discuss. Seriously, we could be all night talking Spurs. Let's look at some of the recent news. Start kicking off with new contracts. Kerry, sorry if you are a midget.
He doesn't care.
I don't. I really don't. But there you go. So, some new deals. Let's start with positives. We'll get to negatives in a little bit. Positives. We were having such a good week, actually, beginning of last week. And obviously, Romero penned a new deal. Craig, surprised to see that?
I wasn't. I think I sort of mentioned in the group chat, didn't I, that him being made captain, I think the next logical step was he was going to commit his future to Spurs. I'll be honest with you, I was over the moon with the announcement of the long-term deal and what Romero said, and he said he hit all the right notes, didn't he, in terms of what he said about this is the club. I love this club. This is an amazing club. I don't want to be anywhere else. And best club in the world. And like you said, it was really a good start to the week and over the moon. I do think he's our best player in terms of overall pedigree. I know he's had his criticisms for how rash he can be, but he is our best player. He's our star man, and it's great to see him commit. And yeah, I was really excited.
I was amazed. Let's just hope there's no secret release clauses in it, Jack?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I assume there is a secret release clause because I was dumbfounded that he signed up. I'll be honest with you. Other than Sonny, there's been very few players in the last decade or so that at least didn't come through the academy who signed up in the prime of their career for more years with Tottenham. I mean, this is the type of club, unfortunately, that in the past the Romeros of the world have used to get their next move and the next big contract. So I thought I knew it didn't look like it was going anywhere this summer. That became clear, a month or so ago. But actually signing a new deal, I was actually astonished that it had been going in the works evidently for months and pretty much put together earlier in the summer, and now it's announced. So I'm thrilled. I still don't know that. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't see the end of it, but I can certainly be thrilled that he's going to be here with us, because I agree with you, despite some of the lack of concentration at certain moments, certain games, and even against Burnley, I think his first 3 passes were to the other color shirts, but he's still our best player. And I think he's got the leadership qualities to help keep this team at least competitive. If they can stay healthy. I
mean, I think he's the player who thrives under the responsibility. And, vice captain is a nothingness to me, really. I mean, I know he's vice with Maddison last season. I don't really count that as anything. But I do think he's the kind of player who will inspire others or terrify them to perform, one or the other. So I think he's the logical appointment. If he was going to sign a new deal, he did. Everything's great. We're all happy at this point. And then Jed Spence signs a new deal. John, in my opinion, one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League at the moment, and playing technically out of position at left back. And I'm surprised. Again, I was surprised. He only signed a new deal not long ago. It's obviously clear recognition that obviously he is now first team regular and not going anywhere for a very long time. And I'm delighted about it because I genuinely think he's excellent. So just a few words on Spence, really.
Well, can I just go back to last weekend? Because we've suddenly found this number 9 who can score worldies. Everyone was slating Richarlison. I'm not going to lie, I was one of those people saying I'm not sure he's up to it. If he can get fit, he might be a decent player for us. But picked out a really nice first goal and then obviously the worldie of the second goal. Monday comes, the announcement of Spence's new contract. Like you say, he only signed a contract in October. He was our best player for probably 2-3 months last season. And then Udogie got brought back in, and when Spence played, his form dropped, I thought. So I was a little bit worried whether that was him having a bit of a strop or whether it was just because he played so many games, having not played anything really for a few years. But he came back and he's looked so good already this season. I know that the equaliser for PSG came down his side, but he was shattered. He'd been running, him and Porro both run non-stop in that game in Udine. And I think it's a great. It is interesting. We don't seem to be linked with any fullbacks at the moment because I still think we need a 4th fullback. But it's great that he looks better probably at left back than he does at right back, which is quite strange. But for me, I have him ahead of Udogie currently.
Yeah, I would too. And what is clear from all of this is that obviously with Big Ange leaving, the player revolt is in full swing because clearly they're all really disgruntled and signing new deals. Kind of makes things a little bit laughable that you read in social media and in the press, doesn't it? Not many watching so far. Hopefully we're going to get loads on catch up, but please do, if you are watching, do hit the like button and give us some love. It would be massively appreciated. Now, it was pointed out to me, Jack, by was it HG, that you've got some doppelgangers.
So you might take your hat off and your glasses off for this.
Yeah, you might need the hat and the glasses. So one for the audience. To who does Jack look most like? So we've got a beautiful collection of faces there. Now I'm on the shooter train, to be honest.
Who? Who's the guy at the
character
bottom?
actor in such a crap part? Yes, great, love it.
Oh, missed Rich Hall off. Davo's always called him Rich Hall. I might have to add that one later.
Yeah, you can have that one just for our personal pleasure.
Who's the guy at the bottom there with the mic?
Huey
Who's
Lewis.
that? Oh, I didn't know who that was.
It's the power of love.
That's for
Power
me.
of Love. Yeah.
I know the song, but that's who I think you look like, Jack. That's closest for me.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'd take that as a
that's
compliment, Jack, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I mean, there are worse people to be connected to. I will say, I mean, at least I'm not getting linked with trolls.
I mean, the Joaquin Phoenix thing, I don't get that at all, if I'm perfectly honest. But I can kind of see
hair,
the
isn't it,
other
only?
It depends on the movie. I think if you had him as Johnny Cash, it might be a little bit closer.
Oh, we've got a new one. James Garner in the Rockford Files.
Oh.
Again, it's the hair.
Jesus.
I think not as he is now, because obviously he's dead. But
Wow.
Yeah. So you know, you can make your own minds up in the audience. Who's the best doppelganger for Jack? But we've given you plenty of options, viewers, so I don't think you can say fairer than that. And a little bit of fun there. Before we go on to a serious matter, a very serious matter, Spurs have been screwed over again in the transfer window, as if losing out to some fat bloke from Nottingham over Morgan Gibbs White wasn't enough. Insult then to injury. So we're gonna spend a little bit of time on this because we haven't, as a panel, discussed it. So apologies if you viewers have watched a million shows on this. Maybe we'll give you a different take to what you've heard already. But Eze, I want to go through and unravel what the hell is going on at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club in terms of transfers. Where does the blame lie? What's going on? And Jack, you're going to kick us off with this because you're shooter to me. So shoot from the hip.
Well, I will say first of all that if I were Ebbs, as I heard him called by Glasner, when he plays against Tottenham, I would recommend that boy keep an eye on wherever Romero is on the pitch at all times. He needs to have his head on a swivel. I can guarantee you that. That's number one.
yeah.
Number two, as far as this is concerned, it just is another example. We can find all the reasons why it didn't get done. Palace wanted a replacement. Palace wanted to play in the first couple games. Palace needed, a certain amount of money up front and all this sort of stuff. And you could say that, he really wanted to play for Arsenal. He was just using us to try and get Arsenal to come out until they got Havertz hurt. They weren't interested. And then all of a sudden they came in and matched the bid. And that's really where he wanted to go. But it's still a swing and a miss. I mean, it's kind of like, it's just not an example of a club that seems to have their recruitment policy and their procedures down. They don't seem to connect. But the only thing I'll say is a good thing is that at least we're swinging and missing at established Premier League players. We missed out on Morgan Gibbs White. We missed out on Savino. We missed out on Eze. At least we're missing players that we know could help us, as opposed to some kid from Europe who we hope could help us in a couple of years. So if we're going to miss, at least we're taking shots at good players. But they are clearly not organized. I mean, I know there's been so much change in the front office over the last just in the last 3 years. It seems like a constant change of who's doing this job and this reorganization and that reorganization. And it all comes down to the same thing: is we're missing targets. And the window is not as bad as I think everyone has said it is, because you still improve the starting 11 by 2 positions. So that's good. That's better than we did last window, where we pretty much only did 1 last summer. But it's still not enough when you see what we're getting ready to face in Champions League and Premier League and domestic cups, where the squad is not deep enough. It's not good enough. And I hope that Frank is, going to have a blinder as a tactical manager, because we're going to need it.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned Frank. So just to provide a little bit of context for the manager's message. So Thomas Frank sends a clear message, which he did in the press conference today, to be very, very clear. I don't want any players that don't want to come to our club. They don't want to come to our club to wear this fantastic badge. We don't want them here. And so there's a lot of hate there's a couple of ways you could view this. The first is you can get really angry with the leadership of the club. They always get everything wrong. They bungle every big deal. which is probably oversimplifying it a touch, albeit there's bound to be elements of truth in it. But has Frank not got a point, John, that when you look at it, Eze could have signed for us, or he could have signed for Arsenal when you break it down. So the bids were matched. Choose where you want to go. He chose Arsenal. Now, if he'd have signed 2 weeks earlier, would he have been fully committed to the club knowing that information? If you could have known that, would you still want him? Does that make sense? So
I think he would have been committed to the club, because I think he's that sort of guy. From everything I listen to and hear about him, he's generally a nice guy, and he works hard and plays for the team. I think he would have been. However, it does appear he's an Arsenal fan. He was released by them when he was 13. He feels he's got unfinished business. A deal was, oh wow, Keith's saying it's 5-1 to Chelsea. A deal was done for his personal terms were done back in June by Arsenal. The only reason they went for him was because of Havertz getting injured. My understanding is Spurs dragged the heel. We're trying to do little bits of the deal slightly differently. Arsenal obviously contacted Palace, said, "What is the deal? What do you want today? Let's get it done." Whereas, so there's a couple of things here. A, we dragged our heels and took too long over it, which probably because we thought we were fine. But I do understand that we were told, was it Wednesday this happened? Yeah, Wednesday morning, that Arsenal were likely to move because of Havertz injury. And we probably had a 2-hour window to get it done. And we didn't, apparently we did nothing. We didn't try and get it done. We sat on our hands.
Well,
and basically made a mess of it. Allegedly, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you afterwards where that's come from. So, yeah, you're right. Do we want another Arsenal player playing for us? He's probably the best. Like Darren Bent didn't work. Doherty didn't work. But Eze's a good player. We've got to move on now. All the complaints about the club taking time, I think a lot of it's valid, because I know, as I said, Arsenal had already done some of the groundwork. They got the player deals side of it done, and they'd obviously spoken to Palace in June, but had given up because they got Madueke. Ethan Nwaneri had signed a new contract, I think. Trossard signed a new contract when everyone thought he was going. So they're quite stacked in those sort of players. I think Martinelli's probably going to be moved on now. But ultimately, it is what it is. We've lost him. The club have taken too long. Obviously, what makes it look worse is the Morgan Gibbs-White situation, which wasn't really our fault. That was more down to the owner of Forest.
Well, and his agent. I mean, to
Yeah.
be fair, I don't really hold Spurs to blame for that at all. That's it looks shit, but I don't think it's Spurs' fault whatsoever. I mean, the Here We Go was there, for God's sake, and all the rest of it. So everyone was good. And to be fair to Spurs, in that instance, they moved really rapidly, didn't they? It was done like that on the back of the other one, or not done like that, as it turned out in the end. So, which is why some stuff doesn't make sense to me, because if we can move that quick on the Morgan Gibbs-White deal, having believed it's done, then it doesn't really make sense to me that we wouldn't do that with Eze, unless Eze's agent is stalling, Forest are stalling, because they know that Arsenal are lurking in the background. Craig, tell me I'm talking some element of sense.
I agree with you. I'm not Levy. I'm not trying to advocate for the club or Levy. I think I don't see what the club have done wrong in this circumstance, to be honest with you. The way I see it, and I'm only going from what I know in terms of the in the nose and everything else, we negotiated with Palace. We agreed a fee with Palace on paper, agreed a fee. We agreed personal terms with Eze. Everything was done, wrapped in us. Now, the delay, from what I understand, was simply to do with Palace finding a replacement. They was in negotiations with Leicester to get the guy out of Leicester. They weren't willing to sell him or rubber stamp the deal until this player had been signed. They're negotiating with Leicester. In the interim, Arsenal have had an injury to a player, which has kick-started them to act and to follow on in a negotiation they started back in June, as John said. Eze wanted Tottenham more than he wanted Arsenal more than he wanted Tottenham. He's chose Arsenal. He's an Arsenal fan. I don't genuinely see where all the hurrah is about the club being at fault. Could they have acted? Could they have gone quicker? I don't see it that way, in terms of we've acted, we've made a deal, we've agreed the fee, we've agreed personal terms, Crystal Palace have held up the deal. Now, a question for me is, Caller, what's the motivations behind that deal being held up? Like you say, was it waiting for Arsenal to come back in to get a bit more money? Was it the agent dragging his heels to sign anything? I don't know. But Tottenham, if you want to look at it positively, Tottenham are in the market willing to spend in excess of 120 million still in this transfer window. If you believe that we've put in a bid in for Eze and we're putting a bid in for Savino from Man City. So Tottenham are doing...
And the calibre of players. And the calibre of players
exactly.
they're targeting is better.
And we're not shooting fish in a barrel here. We're trying to target the top 5%, 10% of players in the Premier League to come in who's going to really make a marked difference to our starting 11. They're not easy. And in the case of Eze, he wanted Arsenal. That's how I see it. So could we have done any more? Could we have gone back and offered another, acted 2 hours earlier and acted more on personal terms? No, he would have gone to Arsenal regardless of what we did at that point.
Well, I think the thing is, if you believe what was written, there was a lot of Parish was dicking about. They were then going back and asking for a bit more money and a bit more add-ons and all the rest of it when it was already agreed previously. And then it was all about the replacement, and then it was all about playing in the Conference League. Well, we know that's bullshit straight out the blocks because you know of what's happened since. So for my money,
to be fair, Glasner wanted him to play yesterday, and he rang Glasner yesterday morning and said, "I'm not feeling well enough to play." Yeah. That's what Glasner said in the interview.
And I've seen that, but I do think that my hunch is we've been, or Levy, the club, whoever you want to call it, have been completely and utterly played. But we've gazumped teams like this before. So we've done this to other teams before. So, you know, it kind of...
We did it with Wolves, with Danso, didn't we? In January.
Yeah. Did it with Danso. Was it Bergwijn or someone that we did it with? There was a player. I can't
Dan Juma was in Everton.
Dan Juma, he was, yes.
Oh, he was
pretty much holding the shirt.
That went well.
So you know, we have.
Yeah. I mean, at least if we're going to do it, let's do it with players that we want.
Yeah. So we've just done it with shit players, yeah. But I think the reality is, I mean, we'll come to this in a minute. But I think the reality is that there is sometimes a little bit more to it than you might believe, and everyone loves a blow up, and everything is always the owner's fault. Rah 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 rah, ranty. Get on my club. But the reality is, if we'd have signed it, if he'd have got over the line, he'd also get no credit for that either, really. So you know, it's kind of a difficult. I think the chairman's in a difficult position because he's that.
Yeah, I'm not slagging off Levy here, because I think it's an organization. I think he may be the culture that creates the organization, but it's a whole group of people who have failed to get their targets over the line this summer, and it's not just this summer. And again, I'm not going to freak out, but I mean, I think there was a comment from Keith. I think it might have been Keith Parker earlier said, what if we had just paid the release clause? I know we were waiting for the release clause to expire because we knew we could get him for less. But that was, what is the difference between the two? Was 68 versus 60? So for 8 million.
No, Arsenal playing 67.5.
That's
They're
what
only 500 grand off the release.
Agreed, 67.5 also.
Yeah.
So there would let's say that there was some logic to saying we can save a few million quid by waiting for the release clause to expire. You know, when did Madison go down? It was in Hong Kong, right? Havertz goes down and they sign the player immediately.
When does
I know Arsenal. I know he wanted to go to Arsenal, and that is a big difference. I agree with you, Craig. If the player wants to go somewhere else, then let him go. That's their right. And if you know, it's just though, had you gone in earlier, could you have gotten him during the release clause? And therefore, when Havertz goes down, it's irrelevant to Arsenal. They can't sign him because he's already made a move.
The thing about the release clause, though, I think one thing we can learn from this summer is release clause means absolutely nothing. So even if we met the release clause, we don't know the full terms of what was in that release clause, what it means about when he can leave, if he can leave, or whatever, do we? So I don't think you can put too much weight on that we should have paid the release clause 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. If it was that simple, then you know it may have been done. And when we did meet the release clause in Morgan's give White, it didn't make a blind bit of difference anyway. So I just don't think we should put too much weight on that. But I think ultimately he wanted Arsenal right from the start. He wanted Arsenal. He's gone to Arsenal. You know.
Yeah, that is it in a nutshell, isn't it? I think.
If the Havertz injury doesn't happen, I don't think he actually does go there. But
no, he doesn't.
We've been done by circumstances.
Probably not. Probably not, unless they decided to just take take him anyway.
Also, because obviously they knew he wanted to go there. They'd done the personal terms months ago. They knew they could just sit there and wait, almost to a certain degree as well.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah,
they could basically wait, see what everyone else did, and then just go, thanks very much, he's our player. Yeah, if we want to spend 120 million, Craig, why leave our business so late as we do every time? Sorry, I'm probably reading this too passionately to sound like Dave. Yeah. If we want to spend 120 million, why leave our
transfers were that easy? It's not
the same old thing.
Unfortunately, David.
Oasis.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not Football Manager, is it? there's multiple parties involved, and again, we're trying to negotiate to get those top 10% of players in the club. That's the difference in this transfer window that we've seen in other transfer windows. Morgan Gibbs-White, Eze. These are top players with Premier League proven experience, the right calibre of player, but we have to accept that they're harder deals to get done, particularly for where we are as a club at the moment in terms of, let's be honest, we're trying to attract these players on the back of Champions League qualification as a result of winning a poor Europa League. It's not because of we're being successful in the league and battling at top 4, top 5 consistently. It's a gamble for a certain extent for a top player to come to Tottenham, isn't it? They've really got to, let's be honest, they've really got to believe in the project and the progress that we're going to make this season to really sit there and say we're going to be Champions League again next season. So they're coming to a club on the basis of Champions League in this season, and it's a big ask, it's a big pull.
If you offered most players a chance to sign between Arsenal or Spurs, they would choose Arsenal.
At this moment in time, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's frustrating. It's annoying. I think Frank's got a point about, if the player don't want to come, then I don't want him. I get all that. But I think there's certainly something in it about moving quicker. It's a constant frustration. One enjoyable bit of bullshit that I'm glad they did clarify was this, because I never believed a word of it. So Frank denies reports on Richarlison leaving Spurs. So he was mootedly offered in the deal for Eze to be used as a make-weight. I don't agree with that he was. I don't believe that for a second, because I think Frank really likes the player, and he said that in pre-season. And he just scored 2 banging goals and looked fantastic. I've always liked Richie. I've always wanted him to stay fit. I hope this is the season he does. But, what Frank said, right now he's my starting 9. He scored 2 top goals. Richie wants to stay. I want to keep him. There's no talks about anything else. Which, again, was like, I saw a lot of noise on social media. And social media, I mean, you can take it or leave it, can't you? It's 99% of what's written is probably absolute drivel, and that's what you get when you listen to people's opinion, including mine. But there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, so we've managed to lose out on Eze and piss off our striker in the process." Well, I can't see that being the case at all. Richarlison, just a word on him, Jack. You pleased with the way he's obviously you are pleased with the way he started the season. Do you think he can keep it up?
No.
Thanks, Jack. That's really good. It's like having Davo back on the show. Yeah, go on.
Great show, lads.
I mean, I like Richie a lot. I think personally he's a good man, and I really like him. His personality grates other fan. I mean, when he was at Everton, he grated on me, and I love when Romero completely clattered him, before he came over. But once you get to know his personality, you realize he's the type of guy that you want on your side. But if he's playing against you, you probably hate him. So I like him, and I think he's got some ability. And he's playing as well as I've ever seen him play. The game in Italy and the game against Burnley, some of the other preseason matches, he looks like a completely different player. And maybe it's all attributed to where his headspace is, because we know he's had some mental health challenges since he came to Spurs, but maybe he's finally in a good place. But I just don't trust that his body's going to hold up. If he stayed healthy, then we've got a 1-2 punch at striker where neither are going to be on the short list for the Ballon d'Or, but they both could easily get you, 15 goals or more in all competitions if they both stayed healthy and played all season. And I just don't have any confidence. There's no evidence to suggest that while at Spurs, he had never had any trouble staying fit at Everton. But whatever the reason is, players come here to our club, and they find injury problems, that are repetitive. So I hope that he's straightened himself out, and they've got a new, whatever they've come and figured out with the physios to give him a new routine that will keep him fit. Because if he is, then I think you've got a real battle between Slanky and Richarlison, and I think that could only make us better if you have real competition at the top of the pitch.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I think Richie, in some ways, offers more threat than Solanke, if I'm being really honest. I think we talked about this in our chat group, and I agreed with the point at the time. I think he's very good in the air, and he does score worldies as well. Look at the one he scored for Brazil. It was a almost carbon copy of that goal he scored at the weekend. Fantastic strike. So let's hope it continues. I think this is a really valid question from Paul. Why is it so difficult for us to move players out? Been a perennial issue for some time now. Completely agree. My opinion is we haggle too much, probably out trying to get too much money for them rather than just taking a big hit.
And they're all dross as well.
And that was my second point, Craig. And because we've bought badly, they're not so good. But John, what do you think about this?
Well, there's also the third point that early on in the Unique era, Levy got accused of selling our best players, and we were a selling club. Modric, Carrick, Bale, Berbatov, all these players. So obviously everyone used to have a go at the club. Why are we selling all our best players? So there was there was interest in Delhi, there was interest in Dyer, and Danny Rose, and we held on to them and didn't sell them, and then we ended up letting them all go for virtually nothing, or for free. So has he gone from one extreme to the other?
Yeah, but keeping Brian Hill to go on loan every season is not.
Yeah, that's because we can't get rid of him.
Yeah, I think that's Paul's point. We've got an awful lot of players who don't make the cut, who either leave for next to nothing, or is the main issue that they're crap.
But then Bissouma, we were all really happy at signing Bissouma, weren't we? We thought we got a good deal here, and it just hasn't really happened, other than a few games for him. Although I do think if we'd had him against PSG coming off the bench, we might have seen that game out. But he has too many brain farts, and I don't know how much is him not wanting to leave Spurs because the options open to him aren't really what he wants, or are we really asking too much money? I can't see we're asking more than 15 million for Bissouma, which is not a lot in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, he's injured.
Who's paying it, though? Who's paying it, John? Who's paying 15 million for Bissouma?
Well, Turkey seems to have a lot of money at the moment, almost as if they're getting a lot of Saudi money in there. So I think we were sort of joking about him getting his teeth done and his hair done in Turkey. Maybe that's the best bet.
But if you're Bissouma, what do? Do you want to go to Turkey, where careers go to die, or do you say, well, I'll stick it out Tottenham, earning good money?
Well, he's got a year left. So he could get a nice payoff next season, I guess.
Yeah,
it depends.
But that's the thing about transfers. It's not as easy as just saying, "Oh, Bissouma goes for 15 million. It's not a lot of money to Turkey or wherever." The player's got to want to go.
Craig. I'm going to interrupt you here because I take your point, but other clubs do manage it a lot better than us. Look at Chelsea. They're selling players we've never heard of for 15 million.
But that's backhanded deals to get around bloody PSR.
Not all of them.
Not all. But some of them, they're a lot of youngsters. They're bringing in guys at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and they're selling them within 2 years and making a profit. Madueke, they made a nice big tidy profit on him. And I think that
what they get for Havertz.
Yeah, Havertz, same thing. Yeah.
A huge amount of money.
Yeah,
I think they lost money on Havertz, didn't they? But they pay, on accounting terms, they made a profit because they sold him after a couple of years.
But
Madueke, they bought him for 28 million and sold him for 52. So
would you have paid 52?
No,
probably not the player we need at the moment.
But that is Chelsea. People complain about Chelsea, and rightly so, because they find all the loopholes and drive right through it and make a mockery of the financial regulations. But just look at their player sales. It's something like 750 million the last, 8-10 years. They sell crazy. They buy tons and they sell tons. Their trading model is unbelievable. It's really remarkable, quite frankly. But you're right, we don't. Whether it's because the players are crap, or that we're paying them too much and they don't want to go anywhere else, or we just don't, like you're saying, we think we should get 15 million when only only get offered 11 or 12, and we would say, well, eventually somebody will pay us 15, and then years later you let them go for 5 or 0.
Yeah. Or nothing. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think it's a valid question. I don't know the answer. I think maybe the leadership of the club is hanging out for too much money, and I think we need to be quicker to accept bids. There you go, solved it. Solved it. We should just sell them for anything. Anyway, look, there was some reaction from Thomas the Frank Engine this week. I do like that. It's the face. So on the back of all of this, go on, John. You're going to say something then, or you look like you're about to.
No, I've just seen what you put the next slide up.
Yep. So it was a nice little, nice segue.
Yeah, segue.
Because I can see, there's some people going on. Don't you all think enough is enough? I presume you're Bi in New York and a guy by that username. Congratulations to you. But there is a message from Change for Tottenham. And I need a beer at this point. So John, do you want to just highlight read this through for me?
Many supporters are deeply disappointed by how Spurs have handled.
Put some passion into it, man. Put some passion.
And I'm trying to read it. It's so bloody small on my screen.
I want you to read it like you're a really angry Tottenham fan, and we've just missed out on yet another.
I'm trying to concentrate on the tiny word. Hold on, I might have to make the screen bigger. Wider summer transfer window. As fans, we have every right to let the club's leadership know how strongly we feel. We are asking fans to send one personal email to the Spurs board using their official club email addresses to share your disappointment and concerns. Please keep it respectful, professional, and in your own words. This is about making our voices heard and not about abuse or spam. By writing directly, you show the board that these decisions are not acceptable and the fans are paying attention. We still have 12 days to go. I think it's now 10 days to go to left of the transfer window to influence the club and act positively and get players needed to help Thomas Frank compete at the highest level. Please respond to all future Spurs social media communications with #WeDemandChange to ensure the message gets across. And if I just put the next slide up, there's the email addresses. They're suggesting that you email. There's obviously supporter services email at Tottenham Hotspur, Vinay's email address, and Matthew Collicott, who's the financial director. I don't know if they're actually legit email addresses. I'll take it that they are. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I don't really know what emailing is going to do in the ground. I mean, the way they've written the message, to be fair, they've said keep it respectful, no abuse, and I think it's the right thing to do. Suggesting people do it in their own words, so I sort of get where they're coming from.
Is this like when Donald Trump stood outside, the Congress, after losing the election?
When Donald Trump does anything,
please, no trouble. But if you want to riot. No,
but it's not going to do anything. It's not. I don't know, Jack. What do you think?
I was just so thrilled that I got to go to the first protest of the season. I walked by those 11 folks, and they were having a good old time. I very much support fan engagement, and I think fans should have a significantly greater voice. I mean, we don't have to go to the German model to have a better system for fan engagement. And I hope maybe that there will be changes. Who knows? I won't get into domestic politics on your side, but I mean, maybe the independent regulator will help some things. I don't know, but this group, I don't have a lot of love for. I mean, they get the dates wrong for their protests. They don't seem to be significantly well run, and I don't think they're respected inside the club. If you're gonna do this, you really need to professionalize this organization or whatever organization it is. But I have found that the people leading these protest groups don't seem to be. I mean, I know they're serious, but I don't find their approach and their methods all that professional serious. And I have little doubt that they are regarded poorly by the club. And so whatever that is that they do, they're just kind of like, these guys don't matter. It's not a well organized. I can see why you want change at the club. I completely understand. I don't begrudge anyone who wants to see this ownership go. But I don't think they organize themselves well. I don't think they attract media attention. I don't think they do all that. I mean, there are some people in that organization that are passionate and are pretty smart, but overall, I think it's a poorly run organization.
Jack's Twitter handle is right there in his bio, so please correct your send him an email if you like, or a harshly worded message, but please keep it polite and professional.
No, you don't have to keep it polite. No, I mean I'm a big boy. I can take the abuse. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I would be all for a really seriously well-run professional opposition group in a club. I mean, I think you can demand and get change but you have to be organized. You got to get people to buy on, trying to get these protests that get so little numbers. Maybe it's the fan base, and maybe the fan base is the problem, but I just don't see these
problem, Jack. I'll tell you for why. The fan base is the problem. So it's up and down like a fiddler's elbow. We sign Eze, everyone's on cloud nine. We lose out to Arsenal on Eze, everyone's like riot. On social media, what they actually do is a different kettle of fish. We lose a game, we should have won. We get upset. It's an emotional roller coaster supporting any football team, right? And I just think that social media amplifies that so much and gives people a voice. Let me phrase this in the right way. Gives them a voice, and they feel that voice is important. But unfortunately, that voice probably isn't that important to the people that are running the club. Now, I agree with you. The only way you really, but what do they want? To drop 60 million on a player, 80 million on a player consistently? Well, we kind of have spent 150 million in the last 2-3 windows. So we just won a major trophy. So it's a bit of a strange time to be kicking off when you've got a new manager there who needs some support. So I just think you've got to give things a little bit of a chance. The window's not over yet. Yes, it is like Groundhog Day in terms of the transfer window, in terms of we haven't signed the players that we want to sign. But you've got to give Thomas Frank a fair crack of the whip to see what he can do, because the board's belief, and to be fair, I share this belief, is that the favourite stick that a lot of the people who are most disgruntled with the club use to beat up the ownership. Well, we finished 17th last season. It's a disgrace, and we should be signing 10 players to compete at the top level. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think that 17th was a true reflection of the talent and ability that's in the squad. I think if you had a proper manager, which I think Thomas Frank is a proper manager, you will get a much, 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 much better output in the league this season with the same players and different management style. So I do think there's a little bit of that stick is a load of bollocks, actually. Do I want us to see Spurs signing £100 million players who are worldies and massively improve the team? Yes, but we know the finances aren't there to support that. When you break down the accounts, the finances aren't there to support that. And all this bollocks, and people don't help their arguments by going profit before glory and all of this shit. We have made a profit 4 or 5 years, and we've spent a fortune on players. So, all the bits don't add up, and all the fan base isn't really unified. So actually, if the fan base was completely unified with one vision about what is the change you want, change is such a broad word. It means different things to different people. You may as well go and shout Levy out, because that is mainly what most of this,
That's correct.
What I see on Twitter, what they want. So go and say that. Don't beat around the bush and say, we want some change. Well, what change do you want? He's just brought a new chief executive in, Vinny, who's supposed to be very accomplished and very good. He's spending £150 million a window now, which he wasn't before. So actually, what is the change you want? You just want Levy out. It's just a different way of phrasing it that you think is going to con people into getting on board the bus, but it doesn't fool anyone. So, I would say if you want to go protest, absolutely. And I support the right to protest. So I think people should make their voices heard. But I think be clear about what it is you want.
And I agree with you. It is pretty much Levy up, because most of the comments are that Levy's still negotiating these deals and Levy's still screwing these deals up. He's not handing over the keys to football people. That still seems, and again, I don't know that that's true. I honestly, I don't pretend to have that level of insight into who's actually negotiating, who's actually on the phone. But I mean, the turnover in the front office is something remarkable. I mean, the number of football technical directors, people leading transfers, Paratici Johan and the people before him, now Vinny and all this stuff. I mean, there's been a huge, the manager turnover. I mean, I understand why people are upset. What they have never been able to do is match the acumen on building this into one of the top 10 revenue producing clubs in the world, and then start spending significant amounts of money, which they have done significant amounts of money over the last 5-6 years. It's just the hit rate is so poor. You're getting about 1 out of 2 hits on the signings. And that means that you've got all these players you can't get out the door because they're on big contracts and they don't want to leave. And so it's a spinning cycle and cycle and cycle. And I don't think that's ever going to change. And that's the reason why, this ownership group will leave when they're ready to leave. And what I've seen is there's been if you really want to organize, look at some of the clubs at the lower levels, how they've dealt with, whether it's Morecambe or Reading or different players. You really want to get fans engaged. You need to have a significant organized protest. You have to have walkouts of the stadium, significant walkouts of the stadium. You can't have 4 or 5 people walking out. You got to really be committed to saying, you know what, we're willing to take this club down to get the change we want. I won't join you in that personally, partly because I'm 4,000 miles away, but even emotionally, I'm not going to join you in that because, this ownership group, as much as I have my problems with them, I know how much worse it could be depending on the next group that comes in. So you're caught in this situation where they're not terrible, but they're not really they're not getting you where you want either, except for the fact they did finally win a trophy last year.
The frustration ultimately, right, is that you look at what Arsenal have done down the road and they've come from a lower base than us. Harry Kane era, if you want to call it that, the Pochettino era, we were way above them. They were in the mud for years. And look how quickly they've turned it around. And what they've done to turn it around is invest a shitload of money in transfers. Unfortunately, the ownership of our club is not going to invest a shitload of money in transfers.
And just on that point, Levy hasn't got the money. It's the Lewis family that's got the money. Levy's not a rich man. All his wealth is in the ownership of the club. He's a rich man compared to any of us.
On paper, he's a rich man, but no liquidity. He's not writing checks. Yeah, right.
No, he can't put 100 million in himself. It's got to come from the Tavistock company or Tavistock Group or the Lewis family. Now, interestingly, Vivian Lewis, Joe's daughter, was sat next to Levy, which I think might be the first time. The rumor is that she's getting more and more involved in the club now. So, she's a senior director at Tavistock Group. She knows what she's doing by all accounts. So, there has been the rumor of the investment, which has been very quiet. Now, it might be that the investment is sort of there, but hasn't been put in because they don't want to put it on company's house until after the transfer window opens. We don't know. Or is it a sponsorship deal they're going to announce after the transfer window shut? But clearly, we tried to buy Morton Gibbs White the day after Kudos. So we were willing to spend this money. And now we're supposedly bidding 70 million for Savinho, having tried to buy Eze and linked with other players. So there is money there somewhere. It's coming from somewhere. It's not just from what we've got, because our outgoings are so big at the moment. Anyway, there's something there. And Charrington came on the board. He is Joe Lewis's personal banker, apparently. So I think Joe Lewis has obviously put his daughter, said, right, you go in there and you have a bit more effect on the business. Would be my guess.
The bottom line is, and this is why I'm in favour of regime change, if you like, is that fundamentally, I don't believe ENIC are going to spend the money that they need to get Tottenham to where we want them to be. So, I reiterate, I'm not pro Levy. I'm not pro ENIC. I think, they need to go. I just don't see this is an effective way of removing them. So there you go. But if it's the way you want to back, go for it. Make yourself feel better.
I think the question is, and someone put it in the chat, how do you do it? Kevin's put it in. What can fans do? And I think what Jack said's right. I got rid of Wenger by the fans not turning up for games. They were having 30,000 at the Emirates, weren't they? And then eventually the board sacked him. But I don't see enough.
Cool has said, though, I think the first thing is we need to have a unified fan base. What is it that we want as a fan base collectively? That's got to be the start point. The reality is we're just not there. And I also think you talk about a legitimate voice, Jack, where, the club respect, or a legitimate body. We've got that in the Supporters Trust. Now, whether you like it or not, they are a voice that's, they do have monthly meetings in front of the board at Tottenham. They are the most recognised group that we have, unify behind the supporters trust. And you know, if you really want to invoke change and you want your opinions heard, join the supporters trust, put your opinions through that, go on the board. They're desperate for people to go on their committee at the Spurs Trust. Do what you can around that. That's what I would say. Engage in the free surveys that they put out every single year, which you don't have to be a member to engage, which are then presented back to the club. There's other ways around it, but I think the supporters trust for me is the vehicle, the most established vehicle that we have to get a voice in front of the board. So my take would be, I'm a member of the trust, you know, I have been for a long time. I engage in that way with the trust. Do that. Change for Tottenham. Get on the board with them. Get on the, you know, get around the table with them. Talk about what that is. Get that unified vision and use them, because that's for me, they're the most credible supporters group that we have. It's not Change for Tottenham.
Jack, were you going to say something?
Nope. I agree with you, Craig.
I agree. I think the problem is that the Sports Trust have made a few missteps over the years, and I think they've lost the trust of a lot of the fan base. And I think I think you are right, Craig, because you could go and be a part of that and bring change through that vehicle. And it's wise to do that because that vehicle is already recognised by the club. So it's the best chance you're going to get of being heard. But where the trust isn't at is backing any protests, etc. So therefore, that's where the impasse is, isn't it?
Yeah, but they've not backed the protest, though, Caller, because there isn't that unified bit. That's what you talk about. And I think the trust recognise your point exactly, which is, and what Jack has said, is if the ambition is to get ENIC out or to get Levy out, that's not a realistic ambition. That's not, we're not going to achieve that because, you know, in that way, because we aren't going to dictate to Levy when he sells or when he goes. That's going to be his choice and his choice alone, and that of ENIC.
I swear to you, like Threads is backwards. You ever use Threads? It's like this thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've just had an update. Alistair Gold. I swear this is my watch now, right? I promise you I'm not making this up. Alistair Gold. Spurs are getting closer to the transfer of Eze. More talks planned between now.
Well, that's been recycled of old news because he announced. Yeah, that's old news.
Unbelievable.
That's not a current post.
It's not a current post at all.
By the way, boys, can I just put up? I just managed to download this just because I forgot to put it in the slides. But I've got this lovely picture of Jack and Craig. There we go. Look at there's love.
Look at me, old 5'9" of me.
He's short.
Yeah.
And I should have had you on the other side. It would have looked. I would have looked would have been a little bit tighter there on the size of the.
But also, while I'm on a tangent, HG just put this in our WhatsApp group. I thought I'd put this up. Wrexham now have the 29th highest net spend in world football this transfer window, just behind Inter Milan. How crazy is that?
Now, imagine if those two own Spurs. It'd be amazing.
I mean, they're not rich enough to own Spurs and be able to spend the money, unfortunately.
No.
That would be brilliant if they did.
No, true. And you'd get a programme. Can you take it down now, much as I like looking at Ryan Reynolds? Right. There's a game.
Why look at Ryan Reynolds when we can look at you?
Well, exactly. About Deadpool, more like Deadpoo.
In 4K.
Here we go. So there's a match of the weekend. This was the City formation last time out when who did they play, John?
They smashed your dad's
Wolves,
team.
Wasn't it? Yeah, it's Wolves. I mean, Wolves are shit, let's be fair. As are Burnley, to be honest. So I'm not sure you can read
as
too
are West Ham.
However, as our West Ham.
And RB Leipzig, apparently. Because Kane got a hat-trick tonight in the 6-0 win over RB.
There you go. So, this probably will be the starting lineup, I would imagine. So, I'm not sure they've got the advantage they've had over us on previous seasons. But there we go. We'll go through the 11. They've got that James Trafford in goal. I find that curious. Can't believe they're selling Edison, if I'm perfectly honest.
They're bringing Donnarumma in, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe. It's not done, though, is it? I'd take Edison. Would you not take Edison over Vicario?
But he's going to go to Saudi to get his retirement package, isn't he?
Yeah, well, pay him what he wants and get him in goal. He's amazing. Anyway,
he's not the best shot stopper, but he's brilliant with his feet.
Yeah. I wouldn't pay him what he wants, but I wouldn't. If he wants to come, that'd be different. But yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't pay him what he wants.
So they've got the former Wolves fullback in the team as well. I never thought he was any good at Wolves, but there we go.
I did. I rated him.
He's all right. He's all right. He wasn't a worldie. Diaz and Stones, Rico Lewis, who again I don't rate particularly, and then if I'm honest, I think that's a beatable team. I know Haaland's shit hot, isn't he, when he's on fire, but I think we can go there and get a result as we have done many times before. Anything there you're worried about, Jack?
Yeah, everything that you got on the screen, I'm worried about. I mean, they're still a very good side, a very well coached side with extremely good talent. I mean, that front four, is a very, very good front four. So I don't expect us to get a result at all, but this will be the first trip. I mean, City fans probably are thrilled that Son is gone because he's been their nightmare for so long. And in addition to Kane, but yeah, I expect to see a 3-5-2 that will be like I expect to see basically the repeat of the PSG game with more of a 5-3-2 as opposed to a 3-5-2. But I think the lineup pretty much picks itself for us, and I think we'll have a go. I think we'll be competitive. We'll be rested. We'll have a decent bench. We have a shot, but I would be very surprised if we got a win out of this. Very, very surprised.
Mm-hmm. And that's their signings, obviously for the last 2 years. So they've had a bit of a rebuild of their own, but no enormous transfers in there really. I suppose Marmoush at 75 million is big money.
But City have never, apart from Grealish, have never gone with those big ones. They've always gone for the 40-50 million ones and just pick them
make
up.
them better.
I mean, Reinders looked really, really good last week. Cherky looks a great player as well, and he was on the bench. They've definitely got options. I mean, obviously, noticeable there, Savinho, 25 million euros, and we're talking about paying 70 million pounds. So probably almost 3 times the amount.
Mental.
It is a bit mental, really, isn't it? And obviously, that's. Do you think we'll line up anything like that? I mean, last couple of games, I liked us against PSG in that formation. Actually, looked really solid defensively till all the subs got made and they took and Richarlison off.
That's exactly what I expect to see on tomorrow morning. Or for me tomorrow morning.
You as well, you're nodding. Yeah. Craig, anything different?
No, I see exactly that lineup. Kudos has to start, doesn't he? He's had a phenomenal start to the season, but we'll start that back three. Paulinho hopefully get 90 minutes under his belt because we keep him. If he plays for 90 minutes with Bentancur, they stay on the pitch. I think we've got a chance. We'll frustrate them for sure. A bit like Jack, I'm not holding up hope that we're going to go with a win, but I think we've got a chance. If we turn up, we play, and we're solid. We have got a chance, and I think you're right, Caller. On paper, the team doesn't look as fearful as it has been previously. That said, they did play well in the last game, didn't they? I thought really well.
HG's in the house.
HG's here.
Better late than never, HG. We did a whole slide of Jack's doppelgangers. This graphic's slightly wrong because I think Bergvall played forward and Saar was deeper actually at the weekend, wasn't he?
Dan's throw.
But I think I prefer Bergvall in that role to Saar, to be honest. So, the one change I would make to that lineup is I'd rather see Bergvall in the advanced 10, if you like.
I think you play Saar for his legs, though, don't you? And his ability to intercept away at City and bring Bergvall off the bench.
Maybe, but Bergvall's a scrappy dappy dude as well, isn't he? He gets well stuck in. So, but I think he's more creative than Saar. So it'll be interesting to see either way.
But Saar was brilliant against PSG, and he was pretty good against Burnley as well. He's probably in the best form of his Tottenham career.
Oh, get him in then, John. All right then, get him in. We'll have that 11
until his form dips, and then we go to the next one.
Then. Yeah. Well, let us know in the chat what you would do. Would you start with the 3 at the back, or would you go with the 4? And let us know your score predictions. It'd be interesting to see what you all think. Don't forget, we are City's hoodoo. I notice you've put this in the slide deck tonight, John. Do you want to go through Why?
Well, this was something that Jamie Carragher talked about. This is shamelessly taken off Monday Night Football.
Did he spit on anyone?
Bless you.
Copyright infringement.
Obviously, the game on the left is PSG, where Vicario was noticeably going longer. He even took a couple of free kicks, one of which led to the first goal inside the PSG half, which is a sort of thing Pickford would do, but I would never thought I'd see Vicario doing it. And then he gets Burnley, and Burnley were trying to press us. He was very much, we were playing around the back the way we used to, but it was a different sort of tactic, and it just adds to the whole feel of we've got a manager that changes tactics per game.
I mean, that's amazing.
Formation. It changes everything.
All my life for this moment. And
oh my God!
Compared
to the last 2 years, where apart from in Europe we changed, and we could all see it all going wrong all the time. We've got somebody who's trying something, and he will try and change stuff mid-game as well.
I really hope he goes to Forest and ruins them, because they deserve it after screwing us over more than Gibbs White.
That would be quite well. They've got quite a good score.
They also screwed us. They also screwed us with Eze too. Don't forget.
Yes,
because if Nottingham Forest doesn't get the bid for Europa League, I'm not sure. Eze may not be on the move. He might be okay to play Europa League, stay at Crystal Palace.
True. Okay. Yeah. So basically, what that tells me is we're going to boot it long. Lots to look forward to tomorrow. It's 2:00, isn't it?
12:30.
12:30.
I won't turn up in here at 2 then. I'll make sure I'm here at 12:30, otherwise I'll miss it. So we've got some predictions coming in. Terry's saying 2-2. Kevin's saying City 2-1. I've seen a lot of big go in. 4 backs, be bold. Terry's 2-2. Keep them coming in. Keep them coming in. There's 43 of you in the chat. Hit the like button. Drop your prediction in the chat. We'd like to know. I'm going to go around the room. John.
Well, just if you're watching this on catch up, please put your prediction in the comments and what you think the team is. Just give us that, and please click the like. I think we're going to go 3-5-2. Pretty much the team that plays PSG, but I think City will be too strong for us. But I've said this before, and we've won there
many times.
I think probably a 3-1 win for City. Sadly.
Okay. Craig.
I'm going to go 2-1 City.
Oh, you negative dances. Jack, give me some American, hopeless, ridiculous optimism. Woo!
Uh-oh. I don't have my laptop's getting ready to die. I am going with a similar 2-1 victory for the home side.
Oh, Jesus H. Christ. All right. Well, I'm going to say we're going to win 3-1.
Yes. I'm just going to say, Caller. Yeah. You remember we won 3-2 up there, and Kulu scored his first Spurs goal, and then Kane played the best game of his life basically up there.
Yeah, I do.
I said we'd lose. I did my 9 ways to beat Man City the day before as a bit tongue in cheek, and I said we'd lose. You said we'd win, and we did win.
And I called that game as a 3-2 win for us because I did the pick'em, and I have evidence of it, and I've saved that picture forever. Because that was the game that no one thought we'd have a chance at, and we came in, and it was one of the best games I've ever seen.
Look, Caller knows. Trust me, we're going to be fine. Just like we are this season, just like we are this transfer window. It's going to be okay. Come on. Let's not be negative. It's easy to be negative.
I think it's going to be a very competitive game. I think Spurs will make us proud.
Yeah.
I think they'll look good tomorrow.
We're going to make you proud.
But I just don't think a win's going to happen.
It's easy to be negative, isn't it? It's easy to fall in the trap that it's all the boogeyman, Daniel Levy's fault, and he is the devil, and there is nothing good about this club ever. Guess what? Champions of Europe. You'll never sing that. We know what we are. And look, we've just won a major European trophy. We've got a decent starting 11 who can give anyone a good game. Look at these players we've got to come back from injury or who. I mean, Basuma, I'm not excited about Basuma, and I'm not really excited about Dragashin and the Japanese guy I've never heard of. But look, we've got 3 good players there.
Takai.
Yeah.
Kulu could be massive when he comes back, couldn't he, for us?
I think he'll have to
Question
be.
is when.
Madison ain't going to be coming back before February, probably.
That's the trouble.
Oh, Madison's nowhere near February.
Maddison's not going to play this season. If he does, it'll be hardly anything. Cooley's
It'll-
not going to after Christmas, and it will take them time to get back to form, both of them.
Yeah, Madison's, you write him off. Kulu can impact the season if it's not too far gone by the time he's ready to play and fit.
I'll give you some more reasons to be cheerful. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing run. How we've had such the sign over them, haven't we? 4-0 last season when we just lost to Ipswich. We were terrible in that game against Ipswich.
We
No one expects us to
battered
get
them
anything.
last season. We
We
absolutely
did batter them.
battered
That was the
them.
start of their bad run, but they've
Yeah.
bought a lot of players since then.
Yeah, well, they need to. Off the back of what we did to them, we did that. Daniel Levy did that. He is the architect. Just like he won the Europa League. Doesn't get any credit for it. Don't worry, Daniel. You'll get the credit when you're gone, apparently. Anyway, I'm talking bollocks. We've been going an hour and 7 minutes. And I've
3-2
really
Spurs,
enjoyed it.
cool. I've changed my prediction. 3-2 Spurs.
Oh, you can't change it now. It's. I'm just gonna. Well, all right, I'll let you. What? Why the sudden change of heart?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the form. We've always go up and do well. The amount of times I've turned down a ticket to go to watch away Man City because I always think we're going to get a battering, and every time I've turned it down, we've gone up there and won.
So did you turn down a ticket?
No, I didn't turn down a ticket this time. But I just think you're optimistic. John's negative. I don't want to be. Jack's negative. I want to be with you, caller. I'm going to be
You want to
positive.
be the balance.
Yeah,
You can choose your attitude, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I'm choosing it.
Half full,
And-
half empty.
And I will say, you've said, and I completely agree with you, it's easy to be negative about Tottenham. It's so easy, particularly with what we've had over the last few years. But actually, on balance, being completely proportionate, there's so much stuff to look forward to this year. I'm really positive about what we're going to do this season. I think it's going to be a completely different season to what we've seen before. And I think I've got a lot of optimism in Thomas, the tank engine, and I think we're going to do some good stuff this year. So I'm positive.
Actually, Thomas the Frank engine.
Sorry,
Craig.
I didn't mean to say that, but yeah.
You off message there. You're talking about a kid's
Yeah, sorry.
team.
I thought it was Frankenham Hotspurs, but
Frank-
Yeah,
okay.
that's that one as well. Yeah.
Right, we're going to wrap up.
All
there.
right, you're right. You're right. We're gonna do one better than last season's trip to Etihad. It'll be 5-0. You're right, Craig.
Oh, Jesus,
Yeah.
you're all happened. We've got some Churchillian spirit in the room. Look, John, thanks for coming along. Thanks for facilitating. And in a minute, if you could end the show for me, that'd be great because I've forgotten how to do it.
Yeah, no
Great
worries.
having you on.
Just going to say, you are going to get redirected to Spurs diehards after this show. If I've set it up properly. So if you do go there and you stay and watch, can you put in the comments, lads raid or LIT raid, just so they know that you've come from here. Just go and see Adrian Stroker, who's a regular commenter on this show for years, and Drew Zeller and everyone. Yeah,
Tell
but yeah,
them
great. It's
Tell
great to
them.
be back, guys. It's great to see all of you boys.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll get more shows out. And kudos, as I said, to Gibbo and Davo for keeping this show going on the Tuesday nights on the grumpy old Spurs.
Tell them the caller sent you. Craig, it's a pleasure as ever to see your beautiful face.
Loved it, and it's been great to be back on with you three guys as well, and everyone in the chat. So look forward to being back on, maybe even next week. Who knows?
Oh, that'd be nice.
Jack, it's always good to have a yank on because we know you know nothing about football but provide enormous comedy relief. So thanks very much for joining.
And the foreign tour scholar. Don't forget that.
And I'm sorry I missed you last week. Next time,
I am too. Next time I'll get you.
And from me, look, my message to you, it's been a pleasure to do this show. It's been great to be back. We'll be back all season long to keep you company on your evenings. Might be a Friday, might be a Thursday. We might mix it up and do a Saturday occasionally. But all I can say is don't be miserable. Get behind the team for once. Let's turn a wave of negativity into a wave. I've too many beers. A wave of positivity, because actually you can only control your attitude. You can't control what Spurs do. Enjoy. Let's win. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.